What's up guys, I'm randomfrankp, and after all these years, Razer just now released their very first Hall effect keyboard with the all-new Razer Huntsman V3 Magnetic Mini 65% AK keyboard, which is definitely a mouthful to say it's their Hall effect version of the Razer Huntsman. And I'm just gonna call it right now, it's gonna be a pretty controversial release, but with one major redeeming quality. So yeah, despite years of Hall effect keyboards being on the rise, this is legitimately Razer's first Hall effect product on the market, technically, as they previously had, their optical analog switches in the past with their Huntsman releases, which Razer still claims, by the way, their analog switches are superior to Hall effect, but we'll talk about that more later on. So just checking it out at first glance, it's really gonna be more of the same visually if you've owned a Huntsman Mini or one of the recent Huntsman V3 Pros. Top plate mounted switches, the brushed aluminum finish, with the only real design difference here is the option of a 65% layout. In the past, the Huntsman Mini was only available in a 60% model, not 65, so now at least you get those extra keys and still a compact form factor for the desktop. They do have this available in a larger layout for those who need more, as it's available in a TKL option, which means officially no 60% model and no full-sized, just 65 and TKL. So I'm more of a TKL guy personally, and I do prefer a 65 over a 60, so if you look at their 4 total options, my ranking would be TKL, 65, 60, and then a full-size board. So I'm sure they have, the sales data and the research out there from consumers suggesting those two models wouldn't sell as good, so they just went with the 2 sizes here. And I will say I subscribe to the theory of if it's not broke, don't fix it, right? But at the same time, when I first got it unboxed and I first saw it, I wish there was something new, some sort of design refresh, because like I said, it's just more so visually the same. So something new would have been nice. Now with the basics and first look out of the way, I want to shift and focus on what makes this entirely different, their new Hall effect switches, which Razer's calling, get ready for it, the Razer Hall effect magnetic switch. And remember, in the past for their opticals and analogs, they had those built-in stabilizers per key, and they were a proprietary switch. So these now look more like a traditional switch that you're probably used to. They're a super smooth and factory lubed linear, rated for 100 million keystroke lifespan. They have a 0.1 to 4 millimeter adjustable actuation distance, so that full range, and they actuate with 40 grams force, which is all the same specs as the Razer analog opticals, again just now, in a more traditional non-proprietary design and construction. There's nothing entirely new to these, like I just said, the same specs. So clear top shell for the RGB, lubed white stem with the internal magnet, the 40 gram spring is also factory lubed by the way, and you have a 2-pin bottom housing for a snug mount in the PCB. Now before we get into where it all just starts to get a bit confusing for me, we'll do a sound test of their new Hall effect magnetic switches so we can hear how they sound in the keyboard. To me, it sounds and feels really good. Probably the best sounding and feeling Razer keyboard that they've made so far. It's got ample internal dampening. Like I said, there's no more per key stabilizer, so there's zero rattle or anything to this. And speaking of which, the stabilizers here are lubed generously at that. Thankfully, we're way past the days of the CoStar stabilizers. Razer did a really good job tuning these to where they feel and sound really nice, which is definitely appreciated. I'd even go as far to say that Razer should maybe consider selling packs of these Hall effect magnetic switches separately so people can buy them and put them into their custom keyboard or whatever Hall effect keyboard they already have, because they feel and sound that good, which is all gonna sound very ironic in just a minute. So let's get into it. I mentioned before how we have a non-proprietary switch and their hot swap. Except for the fact that during my briefing and going over their marketing materials, Razer said these are not hot swap, and they are a proprietary switch. Huh? So naturally, that made me curious. And I mean, nothing looks out of the ordinary. The switch pops out of the PCB. It's obviously not soldered in. Pretty standard looking Hall effect PCB mount inside. So what's the deal? So I went around the studio, picked up a few, like a handful Hall effect switches that I had nearby, right? Just to test. And since they're all either a flat bottom shell or the standard 2-pin mount, they all fit with no issues at all. Now here's the kicker. They all work and register as an input. So why is Razer saying this isn't hot swap? Well, part of that's gonna be them more so covering their ass, right? When they factory test and calibrate these boards, at 8K hertz polling, they're getting just 0.6 milliseconds of latency, which they claim is 8% faster than their second nearest competition. So if you were just to toss in a different switch, then those claims wouldn't necessarily hold up because it's not their switch that the boards were calibrated for and tested at. So I get that. And by the way, let's not get it twisted, the technology Razer is using in their mice and in their keyboards really is industry leading. So I get them standing by their product. Where I really get thrown for a loop is when I put in the other switches and started testing around a bit with the calibration and the rapid trigger. Things got a bit wonky. So their internal actuation meter in Synapse, so you could see the switch's actuation level in real time, decided to only work for like a few random switches. And then I have a bunch of ghost inputs starting to happen. And then when I took out the non-Razer switch, reapplied their Razer switch, and then factory reset the board, everything went back to normal. Then for shits and gigs, I did the same exact thing again, just to see if that was like a one-off bug. And it all happened again. Adjustable actuations weren't working properly until, yet again, I took out the non-Razer switch, put it back in, factory reset it, and then it all worked as expected. Now, like I said, it's just a bit weird, right? I don't understand why Razer, despite them and their claims and them, holding up to their factory calibration settings and their speed tests, it's a bummer that they, for some reason, don't want this working with other switches. Now, at the same time, I also realize that 90% of the people buying this are gonna be content with whatever switches are inside, and they're not gonna swap them out. But as someone who came up in the custom keyboard scene and naturally, wants to mess around and tinker with the board, I mean, of course I'm gonna try it. But yeah, this isn't a bare bones wooting, I get that, where, it's encouraged and the point of the board is customizing. So I get both arguments, it's still just kind of disappointing. Now, with all that aside, gaming felt great. Obviously, all the prior bells and whistles for things like rapid trigger, snap tap, DKS, and a new feature they call Snap Flex, which lets you bind two keys to a single press so that they're done consecutively. So for example, throwing a grenade and jumping, usually two separate keys can now be combined to just T, for example. Or what I use it for in Battlefield is slide and immediately going prone, which would usually be X and then Z, but now when I just press X, I slide, and then I'm automatically prone. I don't see how it's that much different than, like a DKS, but this feature does seem to be one of their new things they're promoting with this board as a new feature. Now, earlier I mentioned Razer, despite this keyboard's release, still stands by their own analog switches being better. And they even have these precision test charts showing the analog opticals at 0.1mm are still more accurate and consistent than even this board's. And they also claim they favor analog over Hall effect because the one potential downside to Hall effect keyboards is with the magnet and potential interference. Things like metal desks, your phone's proximity, other peripherals can all alter the magnetic field, causing signal issues or these phantom actuations. But on a technical level, they're still more so the same. Both switches measure the exact distance of a key, the actuation's adjustable. All Hall effect switches are analog, just not all analog switches use magnets, which is really where Razer's own internal beef is coming from. So at the end of the day, Razer's not doing anything revolutionary with this keyboard, right? It's not like 2 years ago with their analog Huntsman and Snap Tap blew up. It's just their version of a marketable Hall effect keyboard. And I think they know that because they priced this as a keyboard that's not doing anything revolutionary. The Huntsman V3 Hall Effect Mini comes in at $120, which I think is more than fair considering today's climate with peripherals just skyrocketing, and then their TKL model is just an extra $20. So $120 for a top-of-the-line, spec-wise gaming keyboard today really isn't too bad. I respect that price for what this can do, and it's still gonna sell like hotcakes. In a few months, we're gonna see it also explode onto the esports scene, and regardless, it's gonna sell well. My question is, like, did this need to exist? Are they putting it out just to say they have a Hall Effect keyboard, when even still, like, they swear by their analogs and they swear by, that technology being superior to this? So did it need to exist? My bugs and issues aside, I wish it was more openly hot swap. Don't know what's going on with that. But again, at the end of the day, for only $120, I can't be too mad.